Let me tell her.
We going on. Welcome to Wachari Nation Building Monday Live. I am Ifashina Efuniemi, a proud host, a happy host, and a consistent and dedicated one to this movement of nation building for the Garinago. I am, of course, Garifuna and proud to be, and I am pleased and honored to have been included in this movement of nation building with the Wachari project, or what started out as the Wachari project, that now has evolved and is continued growing. It has continued growing to now having Wachari Enterprises Limited. As I had mentioned last week in the discussion we were having as it regards the
Close the
nation
door,
building,
son.
one of the key things about building a nation is ensuring that it has both political enfranchisement, which means that it has its own governing body, it is able to lead itself, make decisions for itself, and economic enfranchisement, which means that it is able to provide for itself. And certainly in that vein, this is where Wachari is going. It is not a bogus, just for words or entertainment effort. It is a serious effort. It is really about building a nation. And so, as part of the effort to ensure economic enfranchisement, Wachari Enterprises Limited is now in existence, has been registered in Belize as a legitimate entity. And now, tonight, we're going to be discussing a bit further about governance, which is a key element to any nation. For any nation to successfully progress, governance is key. And what we have seen globally is a variety, yes, in governance structures. We have seen where the people have been neglected, have been at a disadvantage in some nations, while in others, the people are at the center of those nations. And traditionally, when we look at civilizations through history, there has been, especially among indigenous peoples, that central focus, yes, on the people first. The societies in the past were led by the people. It was the people that selected their leaders, and the leaders led in the interest of the people. So here we are with Wachari, building this nation that is of the people, for the people, by the people. And so we're going to be talking tonight about governance in Wachari. And I am glad to welcome, these are key individuals in Wachari from its inception. We have Dr. Anna Arzu, we have Major Gilbert Swazo, and we have Marley Chatuye. And all three of them are also now members of the board. So I'd like to welcome them, and this is what we're going to be talking about tonight is governance. Remember, they had talked about training for the board members, training for the people that will be leading. And so I want us to proceed with that discussion with first asking Dr. Arzu to outline for us the membership of this board and what was the process actually that went into identifying who would make up this board. How did you get to actually pool those individuals together? Welcome.
Well, is your mic okay? Your sound seems to have gone down. Hello?
I'm here.
Oh, okay, there you are. Yes, it's been a long journey. But it started just like you would with any job, right? If you were staffing a position in a company, we started by delineating what that company would need or what that entity would need. So in our case, we created a company with a mandate, of course, to help Garifuna people globally through borders. Um, and the way we articulate that support in our corporate papers is to say we are created to support the economic security of the indigenous African diaspora and people of color internationally. So we do not exclude anyone. But our mandate here in this project, in this endeavor, is all inclusive to help Garifuna communities to develop economies in our entire demographic through agriculture and of course all the efforts of economic development. So it isn't just one thing. It's a rising and raising of the quality of life that our people deserve to live. Um, of course, to develop economic cooperation and technical exchanges with other companies, enable them to manufacture and to develop the best products possible. So it was in keeping these intentions in mind that we went after the type of people who cared about these things. So yes, we were looking at skills, technical skills, um, whatever resources these individuals had to offer, but most importantly, it was the social factor, the cultural factor that they cared as human beings for the the community that we're dedicated to helping, and that was the bottom line. And then after that is them volunteering their services and making that commitment to comply with what the entity would need. Um, the board is comprised of 10 members, each one representing a community in Belize. And this way, our board is continually like feelers. They're like little feelers to continually bring us information and kind of a pulse check on how our communities are doing. And it's with that structure that we plan to govern the company within the ethical standards of our culture, within the ancestral values of our culture. I hope that helps.
Yes, that definitely helps. And so, can you tell us who these individuals are and what the key roles they will be playing as a board? Is this going to be similar to boards we've heard about? You know, you have corporate boards, and then you also have boards for government entities and non-government entities. So is that the kind of structure that essentially is going to be leading Wachari Enterprises?
Major Swaso, would you like to take that one? It's it's a working board and it's a governing board. Your mic is muted. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, wait, go on to the window. President, good night, one and all. Again, it is indeed an honor and a pleasure to be here to certainly share. I think we've had such conversation in the past in relation to what we are about. And while it is that we have a structure that mirrors that of any regular board that is with the Eastern or Western philosophy, I would want to emphasize the point that at the base of everything that we are doing is the cultural traditional values. Those are the very foundations on which we stand on. So yes, the organization is one you have to have leadership, right? In any organization, there must be leadership. There must be a structure, a command structure, a leadership structure uh, that will manage the affairs of the people who are represented. Because, as you know, the Garifuna nation is a nation across borders, so everyone cannot sit in the same place at the same time at all. So there must be people representing different geographical divisions, if you want to call it as such. So one of the things that we've done was to, one, certainly subdivide the country in a way where every Garifuna community can be fully represented. And we opted to have, if I may recall correctly, to have 10 different geographic areas within Belize. So therein is the 10 number for the representation of our people across the respective town, villages, community borders that we have in Belize. And also, given that, there also have to be people who will represent the enterprise, the corporation, at different forums, whether it is business forum, whether it is political representation, whether it is economic development. So that those things will be like the responsibility of the CEO, the responsibility of the president. And you cannot run an organization, and we have our basic fundamental principle is economic development. So it simply also means that finance will be involved. So therein lies the need for a treasurer. And it is also legally mandated and required that we have to have minutes of meeting. So again, there's a need for a secretary who will be recording everything that needs, that is being said, the resolutions that need to be passed, and certainly there will also be need to file resolutions at the company's register to make them official, and again for transparency's sake. So all those things are within the structure of Wachari Enterprises. And as I had indicated before, there are subdivisions. So each of those subdivisions are fully represented. And again, there will have to be continuity and meetings. So those people who are representing the geographic areas will also have to then have like a subcommittee within the region, so that then information can be passed, so that we understand at the lowest level what our people needs, how success can be achieved. So the continuous dialogue, so it's like a chain that continues to revolve. So from top to bottom, from bottom all the way to top. So they have to have that chain kind of reaction moving, and that is the aim of the board, for us to be better able to manage, so that we can hear everybody's voices. So that is the specific aim that we are trying to achieve out of this board. So it's a working board. We intend to hear from everyone on a frequent basis, and we are also flexible that if and when there's a need for us to hear, again, we use the technology for us to meet either in person, but under the circumstances these days, we meet virtually, but we need to hear from our people, and we need to share information to them so that they can be full participants in the success that we're looking for.
Excellent, excellent. So given that there is a board now for Wachari Enterprises Limited, I know there are steps that have to be taken in this process when it comes to formalizing an entity in Belize. So is the company at that stage where the board members are now engaged in training? You had mentioned that that would be the case. Are all documents now already submitted? There's a constitution, are there bylaws? What's the step that you're at right at this moment?
Well, one thing is that we have just very recently, in fact, as late as or as early as yesterday, when we had nominations of officers or members for the board of directors. So that happened yesterday, where people were elected in those respective posts, and now that need to be registered at the company's registry, with what will also fall off from that, that all those information that were discussed yesterday will also be utilized with a view to officially open the bank account of the enterprise as well. So that is important. And then one thing that we still have not fully achieved is the training of all the board members. So that is pending, and I can assure you that that has already been scheduled and will happen very soon rather than later, because that is a step that must happen. So we are building on the foundation. All right, the foundation is already established, so we will continue to build to achieve the level of unity, the level of accountability, the level of transparency. That is all entwined. And furthermore, Aubun Amrono, I help you, you help me. I for you, you for me. All right. And we are no longer strangers. We will never be strangers, because that is again one of the core value that we live by, the fundamental life principle of Godinabu. And then we are reaching out, because as I had indicated earlier, we are a nation across whatever borders, but we are one people no matter where we are.
Now, when it comes to the roles that you play, and I know that essentially each person here tonight is a member of the board, and I think it would be good for our audience to become acquainted with the roles that you're each playing as part of this board. And moving forward, then how people can participate or support this enterprise. So I don't know if Doc wants to take that on, but we could start with what role each of you will be playing on the board.
Can I say that there are 4 board members waiting in the waiting room that would like to get in?
Okay.
But I would like to hear from Marley.
Yeah, yeah. I want to take that question.
Yes, go right ahead.
Yes, Marley.
Yeah. Yes. Like what Major Swazo said, President Swazo said, people have been nominated and appointed here and there to create that board. And now that we have a board, everyone has a job to do on the board. I want to speak for my position, which is the treasurer position. I'm glad, and I happily accepted that position because I'm still a part of the managing the money course. and it came hand in hand just in time for this position. Could be never later. This is the right time for it. Um, so more courses will be offered, and every course that will be offered have a place somewhere in the enterprise. And the treasurer position, like I said, came from the money management course. So every course will have value to the enterprise. Um, we still urging people to participate, join us, register at Wachari, join the Facebook page, and be a part of the movement. We have room for every Garifuna who want to be a part of this. So join the movement. We have space for you.
Excellent. Now a treasurer's job, some people shy away from that responsibility once it's dealing with money. I mean, there have been some issues in a lot of different entities. So how prepared are you for this challenge? I know you're enthused about it. How prepared do you feel to be in that position?
You see, this is the thing. The people who are in this enterprise are people with competence, right? I mentioned to the group that I will need directions to get this job done the right way. And everybody was like, I'm here whenever you are ready. Whenever you need an assistant, reach out to me. So that secure my position. That make me comfortable, and because understanding that there are people who are there to help you be successful, that's comfort, right? And doing the money, managing the money course is a plus.
Yeah.
So there is no room for error, or I shouldn't have any excuses. So I'm comfortable enough that I can do this.
All right.
And, I wanted to say that and this is what's so beautiful about this particular group of people. We've gone through the whole
Did we lose Dr. Arzu? It seems.
I
All
think she
right.
froze on us.
Yes. So while we get her back, Major Swazo, can you tell us a bit about your role as president?
Well, definitely, as the president, it certainly will be my task, my responsibility to ensure that we stay on course, support the CEO and all other board members for us to stay on course. We will ensure that whatever are the objectives, the policies, the strategic way forward are maintained, right? So we will remain on course, and I will also be lobbying, linking with others as well, with a view to ensure that we get the kind of support that we need, with a view to attain the level of success that we are looking to achieve. And also to lend offer guidance and support where that is necessary as well. So essentially, I am privileged to have been nominated, and I happily accepted the responsibility. And so each one will teach one with a view for us to stay on course. But generally, the president will be one of those among those whose primary responsibility to ensure that we stay on course, we achieve the strategic objectives, we get the kind of support from external, internal, from wherever, right? To ensure that we have the resources necessary to achieve our objectives.
Excellent, excellent. Dr. Arzu, I
Yeah.
heard Major Swazo refer to the CEO, and I do believe that's you. So tell us a bit about your role.
I'm going to hide behind Marley's words because same here. It's not something I can do alone. And I'm happy to embrace the responsibility. I know that it's a job that I can do, um, only because of the people that I have behind me. And if it were not for this board, this particular group of people who have just they're walking the talk. Um, that's what gives me the confidence and the words to say, I know that we're going to be successful. I know that we can do this. Because on our board, no one is alone. We're not, our value as individuals is not what we're looking for. We are worth more, we're greater than just the sum of our parts when we're together. And when we meet, there is no meeting unless there is at least quorum, at least more than half of us are present. So one board member cannot make an individual decision or make an executive decision. We're not set up that way. We're set up to function as a family with consensus, with quorum, with understanding, and of course with kindness. Because the focus is that we transcend the differences between ourselves because we're all different people for the sake of accomplishing the mandate, the goal, which is to get our people collectively into better conditions of living.
Well, one of the things I believe is going to be important in this discussion, and especially as we're introducing the board to our people, is for them to know who we are, and for us not to assume that people know who we are and what we bring to the table, right? So I will definitely start with myself because I am very pleased with how I'd say organically Wachari came together, right? Really, literally, organically. It's like you just meet like-minded people and you invite those like minds to come in and join on this movement for our nation. And I am honored to have been invited to be a part of this movement.
But we
And
are you.
so I come with, of course, communication skills. I have been in media since 1997, and I also am in education. I am in advocacy. So those are the skills that I bring to the table. I am pretty knowledgeable in terms of technically doing this kind of stuff. I dabble with it a lot, and I like it. I host my own radio show, and and so I am glad to be able to offer this kind of service because I think it's so important for our people to see us, to see ourselves on the screen, engage constructively. You know, social media has been abused in many ways and has been misused also. But I am a big proponent of using social media constructively. So my personal page, my radio show page, and now, you know, here with Wachari, this is exemplary of what I stand for, that we must lead by example, and we could use things in a positive. The tools are available, but they can be abused. We're using the tool in a positive way. This is a tool that is available to our people, and so they have access to us through this. So I'm glad to be a part of the team, especially in my capacity as a communications specialist, if you want to say. Um, Major Swazo, tell us a little bit about your background and what you bring to the table.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I have had the privilege to have been to have served the country at the highest capacity as it relates to operations and administration, right, in the Belize Defense Force. So operationally, I'm managing, and also I have represented Belize on several international forums, whether through the Defense Force, through NEMO, through Port Authority, and even in my private work in the maritime. So I have had that pleasure of linking with different organizations, different government officials, and I've also been involved at the political level since I was privileged to also be the mayor of Tangriga for one term. So I believe that I bring a wide range of technical knowledge and experience onto the board, and I freely give of myself. I'm also a Rotarian, and again, so everything that I've involved in borders on what is called service before self. So I put myself in service for the people, and I believe all those things in and by themselves, I will utilize those kinds of experience with a view then to be able to lobby and to bring the resources and offer the kind of leadership, offer support, and then I'm humble enough to also be led. So I have no problem at all in supporting and in being part of this organization from the onset. And I'm happy to continue to be here with the health, strength, and the support of God and the ancestors.
Sir, Major Swazo. Dr. Arzu, I know people hear that name, they hear doctor, sometimes automatically the assumption is she a medical doctor? What does she have? What's she a doctor of? And you are well known in your own right. So just tell us a little bit about you and the skills that you bring.
I am an old lady. I'm a Lucernian. I was educated in the States. I am not a, how should I say, I'm not a hospital type of doctor. And that's neither here nor there, because that has nothing to do with my responsibility with Wachari. I do have 35 years, more than 35 years in wealth management consulting. There isn't a wealth managing company or bank in the world that I have not worked with. And my experience is in making money for other companies. I did that for 35 years for other people, for rich people all over the world. So I thought, why not do it for my people? So yes, I have a doctorate, but it has nothing to do with my ability to manage money.
Now, maybe it actually does. You know, you can manage money healthily.
Yes, true, but doctors don't make the kind of money that wealth managers do.
Okay.
Although it's better if you are a doctor, yes. My doctorate helped me a lot get up in my career, but it wasn't working in a hospital taking care of sick people. I was employed by a pharmaceutical consulting company because of my expertise in plant medicine, plant-based chemistry. My undergrad is in behavioral science. It's really, it used to be called animal behavior, but I think now it's called human behavior. And I've been doing the same thing consistently. That was my entire work. When I worked outside of consulting, I was an executive law librarian for the district attorney of Queens County in New York City. And I was hired solely for the purpose of putting together a unit called the Special Victims Unit, which, as you very well know, was turned into a television show. Renee Villanueva did a whole 2-hour was a show on my entire life. So I guess we could watch that too. But basically, I'm a philanthropist. I decided when I retired that I wanted to return and work with my people and my people alone. I have a right to decide where my money is to go, where I'm going to put my energy. I know other very wealthy Garinagu, other Black people, even non-Black people who want to help us, but they prefer an organized structure. So I work for us to have an organized enough structure so that these finances can come into our communities in a sustainable, responsible way. And that's what I'm ready to do. That's what I do.
Excellent, excellent. Marley, tell us a little bit about you and what you bring to the table, Mr. Treasurer.
Yeah, so I'm well known for doing music, right? Because I'm a musician. But I also confident enough that I can communicate with the youth, right? I talk a lot with the youth, especially about Wachari. But I learned one thing. Um, I'm not sure what the fear is with the youth. They for the most part they don't want to join, but they are prepared to do the work if you give them a task. I've been trying to get them to join, but they are ready whenever it's action time. They are ready. They are there. They are ready to do the work. So I'm getting the youths ready for what's coming, and that's very important because we need them. We need them. They are the working force. Because one day, Dr. Arzu, you yourself, Ifa, Major, I'm sure you will pass it on to us, the youth. So we need to prepare ourselves for that day to come. So the youth is the working force, and eventually the youth will elevate to that position where you are, where you guys are. So my thing is working with the youth right now, and I'm bringing that to Wachari.
Excellent, excellent. And I just love the imagery that Major Swazo had brought last week, talking about the palm. He used the palm as the example where, where newer leaves, you see them at the top, and then as time progresses and the tree produces the older leaves, then just naturally go down to the bottom until they eventually are shed from off the tree. But the youth are so key to sustainability, which is the balance that is present in this board and that every nation needs. It needs continuity. Every nation needs to have that balance. It's never just elders. It's always that circle where there is constant movement around and around because you want to keep the nucleus together and you want to ensure that there is growth. So we are, of course, very pleased. I've always felt happy and honored to be among elders who are happy to pull me along, to reach a hand out and engage, because sometimes there are those who they are not into all of that. They believe that young people should be in some other place, some other location, and not be um engaged. And I definitely have had my share of negative experiences with even some Garifuna elders, but I've also had positive experiences, and I focus my attention on those positive experiences. So those continue to be my experiences as a result of that. And so I'm glad to see that balance here. And I want to then ask I see there are several other board members with us tonight, and I want them to do the same. I'll call on you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you bring to Wachari Enterprises Limited. So I want to start with Dr. Ricks. Welcome. Good night.
Good night. How are you?
I am doing great. And about you, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here again. I am Dr. Vanita Ricks. I'm a U.S. born Belizean nationalized member of the board. I've been in Belize now for 12 years, and I've gotten a chance to be around and see around. And so when I became acquainted with the Wachari project, I was very happy. I thought it was what was needed. because there are lots of resources here. There are lots of important and interesting people here. But there wasn't necessarily a direction. And this seemed to have the kind of direction that I was used to. I have been on boards in the United States, non-for-profit, profit, you name it. So I've helped people move things from one space to another space. And so that's what I bring. So when I come to the board, one of the first things I'm going to be doing is helping with the bylaws and making sure that we have the structure in place so that we can operate effectively, so that everybody is doing what they need to be doing for us as we move forward. We don't need people duplicating each other's efforts. We also don't need people who don't know what they're supposed to be doing. So we're going to take care of all of that as in the early stages by visiting with the bylaws and making sure that they are what we need them to be. So it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be on the board, and I am happy. And we are a team. So people step up, help you when you need help, and you help others when they need help. So I'm not worried about what people know or don't know, because I know the spirit is good and that people really want to make this come together and be to the benefit of everybody.
Thank you. Welcome, Dr. Ricks. And so we'll just keep it along the lines of doctors. Dr. Gwen Nunes Gonzalez, you're next on the list. Welcome.
Hey, welcome. Just logging on, I was with my Hamalali training team. I'm all excited about that because it's about ensuring that the Garifuna language keeps going and through this space we call Hamalali. So I'm all excited, and I'm excited to share our programs with you. Well, what's going on? Buenas noches. Good night, everybody. First, I want to thank God. You know, I have been thinking through this, and I said sometimes God opens doors for you that you don't think are there, you know, and that you don't even know. And he has been able to use Dr. Arzu, and I'm very grateful. I keep lifting her up lately because I said, man, I want to thank her immensely for answering the call, because many people are called to do certain tasks, but we don't follow through. We're too busy, we're too this, we're too whatever. But God used her as our Moses, as our instrument of change with the vision. And so she has been able to harness all these rich people, because I don't think myself as poor, and I don't know I got money, but I am poor, right? So all these rich people, this rich knowledge, this richness of skills. And so to the board, I bring my energy, I bring my organizational skills. That's what I learned. I bring my open-mindedness, because I sometimes I see myself as a sponge, right? Soaking in information, the ones that I don't really need, I just squeeze it out. But I still keep damp with the information that that I need. And I bring also a skill set where I can bring people together. I realize that even in my workplace or in different organizations, to mobilize people, I'm always called upon, and for some reason it works out, right? So I bring all of that. So I bring this energy to the organization, and I hope and pray that others outside of this core will see the bigger picture, because I can see a new country within a country. That's what I see now. I see this economically rich country within a country, right? This nation within this nation we can't believe. So forgive me, I just get excited. I think about it, I get excited. And the more I read the document and the article and what we're all about, like I get more excited because I see far down the road. I can see down the road. So good night. Let me shut up because my excitement might get the best of me. But again, thank you, Dr. Arzu, and thank you, Ifa, for providing this space. And I want to thank everybody who has offered themselves to this movement that we will call it. Not a project, it's a movement. It doesn't stop and it won't stop. So bungi waba wage larige wa wage hawa ha hari wibe ha larma yabe wabarage lo warara mo hagabo lo here gudnoa lo ishni samino lewe mege obelu wa waseru ka wasertie me lo su hasuguru awasertie. They had the chemistry, they had the chemical oomph and the dumps. So we want to get that from them. So good going.
Survey. I want to invite Jennifer Williams. Could you turn on your camera and your microphone so we can see you and we can hear you and you can tell us who you are and what you bring to Wachari.
Yeah, what a beauty.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Thank you. It's been a busy day for me, but I am here because I discovered what I say. I think she will be our Garifuna Moses, Dr. Arzu. I discovered her and everything that she has been doing or whatever she touches is turning to gold. So I think that being a part of this group that she has put together and the vision that she has for Garifuna people, it is something we've been yearning. Yes, we have, but there is always room for more and there is always room for improvement. I appreciate being a part of this group because the way the Wachari is being set up is that each community will be harnessing their skill and they will be looking to see how they could improve and come together within their own community. So to develop the whole, we will harness all the individual strengths from everybody. And this is what I like about the Wachari Nation. And as a member of the bylaws committee, I hope to work with Aoife, Dr. Rades, you, Dr. Gwen, on how we could get the bylaws, to work with people and so that people could understand and improve on whatever they know that they need to do to contribute to this group. So I thank you all for it. Also, my contribution to one of the Wachari hubs is the group of women that do designs for Garifuna attire. It's so lovely. It's a lovely project and idea. And I think that more of this should be done. We must start to look at every single, yes, it's not always about money, but when you put effort into something, every aspect of Garifuna life is a money-making venture. So when you make cassava bread, if it is to eat with fish, that could be something that is a product that you could share with visitors and say, this is how we eat, this is how our ancestors ate, this is how they survived the war, because when their crops were destroyed, they put the cassava up in the ceiling of the thatch, and the cassava was, the fields were destroyed, but they had cassava to eat. These are things that other people don't know. We need to share that with everybody. So we could look at every aspect of Garifuna life as a business. And that is what Wachari will be bringing to the table. And that is what we intend to extract out of the Garifuna people that we serve. And I thank you for this opportunity.
Excellent. As there was a comment on the page, on Wagia's page, where the person talked about great minds thinking alike. And I have to agree with that because clearly the people here are like-minded, and that is key. I don't want to miss out one more board member, small, but never to be taken lightly at all, at all,
Amen
at
to that.
all.
Lady Clean.
So it is definitely my great pleasure to invite Nuni, right? We came up with our term, right? Numada Neduhe. So Nuni, Feline Cayetano, and let us let us hear from you, Nuni, about what you bring to Wachari.
Greetings, everyone. Always a pleasure to be amongst family, and that is blood family as well as chosen family. For those who don't know me, I am definitely 150. The type of culture, the type of way I hold on to my culture is in a futuristic way. I think to myself, if I am strong enough in my culture, I could pass it on to the next 10 generations, no matter where their heritage and their history takes them. Because from my own experience, when I was living abroad, it was holding on to the culture, holding on to my own ideas and my bloodline and learning the history as much as I can from afar and trying to discern what was fact from what was fiction that led me to the place of knowing who I am and being proud of who I am and being able to share that with other people. So again, that's it, a search for self, a search for heritage. That is what has led me down the path of being a librarian, being a writer, now director, screenwriter, just moving into media in that way. And as well as the librarian part, researching and facilitating research, specifically trying to get other people to see the importance of moving from a space of you just receiving and learning and discerning what people are saying about you to you then creating that, to you then saying, as there's that story, or there's that, that we are all aware of, that it's the one who wins the war who tells the story of the war. And of course, they will always tell that from their own perspective. And as we know, we have had many battles. Some of the battles we won, some of them we did not win. But until recently, we have not told our own stories. And that's what I really want to see happen. And which is why I am very proud to be on this board and very much focused on the part about documenting and making sure that more people hear about our experiences, that the next 10, 20 generations can recite it as well as we do those taught in the history book of whatever nation we might live in, because we are definitely an ethnic group across multiple nations, a nation across nations. But it is not those borders, those, the ones drawn by those who chopped up this world to the way that they wanted. No, it is us knowing that despite those lines, we are the same people. And that's all I want to say for now. Sereme.
Survey, welcome. So I wanted to give our people the opportunity to meet this board. Everybody isn't here, and so perhaps Major Swazzer, Dr. Arzu could mention who the others are. But
Well,
this is the majority. This is
yeah,
most of the board right here,
quorum.
right? We have quorum. Yes, we definitely have
We have
quorum.
quorum.
We just
Um,
have a meeting.
and I love the variety of skill set that's here. This is what I want people to see and get a sense of. A lot of times boards, people don't even know who is in the board. Like the board just
That's
meet
true.
in a room. It's like this secret group of people, and people don't even know who they are, right?
On the
So
school
this
board,
is
so when teachers, they're afraid of us and they don't know us.
You know,
yeah.
we deliberately designed the board to be like a family. We're a family of 10, right? We have parents, we have aunts, we have the young ones, teenagers, the elders, all age groups represented within our board. So it's not just the 10 communities. Yes, the 10 communities, but we also want the perspectives of all the different walks of life in the different ages.
Yeah.
So the
So
people who are not here are the vice chair, Miss Bernadette Moody. And she's a elementary school teacher, enormous experience. In fact, some of the board members were her students and they remember her. So she was a teacher here in Belize, and she brings an enormous amount of experience in terms of knowing how to design curriculums to be better assimilated by our children, the children in our communities, because we know the education is failing them. And so she comes with that that experience of remedy. So yeah, we want her for that. She's our vice chair. And the other person who is in here is Charmaine Castillo, a brilliant woman, absolutely brilliant. She just started assuming the responsibility of secretary from the beginning, keeping records, keeping everything straight. And every single one of these people feels like an adorning jewel to the entire enterprise. Each one is a very specific, beautifully colored gem for this enterprise. And it's together that we have value. Yeah.
excellent, excellent. Well, it is quite a vibrant team of persons that come with these tremendous skills, and we will definitely see those skills, because each person here in their own right is already doing good stuff, great stuff actually, and making a contribution, many contributions as a matter of fact, where they happen to be. So to me, like, Wachari just seals the deal in a sense, you know, because we're on this journey together, and Wachari has essentially brought us together. It's like, I remember in my youth when I became even more conscious of my, my Afro centricity. I really gravitated to my heritage, the beginning, which is the continent of Africa, and saw the connections there. What it did for me was I started to see people who were thinking along those same lines. And I recognized that once you think a particular way, then you carry yourself a particular way. And when you do that, then other people that also think like you, they will just come to you. Like, you'll meet at the store, you'll meet on the street, you'll meet at a meeting, you'll meet at a seminar, you will inevitably cross paths. So there is no accident, there is no coincidence, there is just divine purpose. And I believe strongly that this was definitely divine. This was deliberate. There were hands that were making this in another realm somewhere, and we manifested their making, you know? So I think that in and of itself strengthens what we are here for. And as long as we stay focused, as Major Swazo had talked about, we stay the course, we will be successful. Our success is inevitable. There's nobody that can take that from us, that can remove that from us. Our success is meant for us to have, just as we were meant to be connected in this way at this very moment, at this time, in this particular enterprise. this was the workings. Our ancestors were doing this long ago. And yes, kudos to everybody that answered the call. And well, we're borrowing, right? We have much to accomplish. And our people, I feel, will be encouraged as they see us, see who we are, and every week hear from us what we're doing and see how they themselves can be engaged. We still have that database that we're building of our people and their skills and how they can become a part of the enterprise. So we're making strides. We're making strides, and this is just a powerful grouping. Any closing remarks? Because of course our hour, it has expired. You know how it goes.
Using up our hour. I don't know. Every week we have less and less hour.
Yeah.
How is this?
I noticed the hours getting shorter every week.
That's a good thing. That's a good sign that we are covering more. I want to say that when I think about what has been going on, because the prep has been going long before now. I said, there's a time for everything. The Bible tells us there's a time to mourn, there's a time to rejoice, there's a time to cry, to sow, to reap, So this time, maybe some people have been asking, why did this happen a long time ago? No. Maybe if it happened a long time ago, it wouldn't fall into place like now, but this is the time. This is the right time. Because at this right time, God chose the right woman to have the vision, and she was able to use her skills at the right time to harness all this right resource in terms of human ability, right? So I know that once we continue on this path of pooling our resources, we will make this change and this transformation. We'll be trendsetters. Sister Jennifer mentioned at our meeting on Sunday that, she hoped that this will be an example for others to follow through. And I said yes in my mind when she was saying that, because this will be an organization that will be an example for others, will be the example. So they'll come to us and ask how, when, what, they will ask, and we'll be able to answer because we've been there, and they'll be able to see our success and emulate us. So I see us one of these days in the Forbes magazine. Yes, they'll
Oh yeah.
We'll be the first one from Belize.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
what Wabarogo?
Ashe.
Yeah, so, and I also want to mention that I'll be in the education component too, because we want to work on the language preservation. So I'll play an integral role in that as well. So congratulations, my family. Americans say family, we say family.
Yes, my closing, to say a little bit more about time. I'm not sure who wrote where I read this, but the reading was like, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now.
Yes.
So
yes.
we are doing it now. And I'm sure everybody on the board and those who are not on the board, who are a part of Wachari, is a guardian of this enterprise. And they wish to see this enterprise grow and be successful. Yes, I am happy we are here at this point. And I'm looking forward for the next step.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent.
This is ours. It's truly Garifuna owned. Every board member is partial shareholder, and every board member representing a community is also holding shares. so that everyone has a stake in it. And only Garinagu can speak for Garinagu. And the problem is we've never had an organization that accurately represented us. And this is truly us. That was the vision. And I feel like this is a great beginning. We are the only ones who can make decisions for us. That's why we are the ones writing our bylaws. We're not going to just follow a cookie cutter template that was given to us by the corporate services. We are writing our own bylaws, values, that things that we can live by, that we can all agree to, and it's happening. So thank you all very much. I love my board. I really do. Just like I love my family, all of you. Thank you.
Survey. Anybody else? Anybody else? All right. Well, if there are no other comments, I'm sure that our audience is very pleased to have met this board. And so looking forward to the coming weeks, the training, hearing more about the bylaws and the steps that are being made. You see when I talked about it that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, it's like there's something happening, right? Every week there's something to report back to our people to say, yeah, things are happening at Wachari, things are happening and things will continue to happen. And so I want to thank each and every one of you for all that you bring, for your spirit, for your sincerity, and what you are bringing to Wachari. And of course, to our viewers, we thank you always for being there and for sharing your comments. And next week, we'll be right back to give you more updates about what we're doing as we build our nation, Wachari Nation Building. Monday Live. Next week, we'll be back again. Ayo, ayo.
Ayo.
Thank you.
Bye. Ayo.